How you doing? Everything has changed since 2020. When I go around town and I look at life, I look at everything. It's blander, it's a shell of what it used to be, and it's kind of like a society that's just going through the motions. And you might have picked up on this occurrence as well, but ever since 2020, absolutely nothing is the same. If you're new to the channel, I'm Michael. I discuss the ascension journey. I take the pulse of society and I make it relevant for everyday life people. And you might be going around town in your neighborhood and you are accustomed to the way that it was prior to 2020. And it's just not the same anymore. You know, I'm filming this actually on a weekend day. And you know, this park in this area, it used to be filled with children, filled with kids from all ages, maybe parents hanging out with, taking their kids to the park, or maybe some teenagers, you know, hanging out, riding bikes. But there's just kind of not many people around. It's, you know, there are people, but it doesn't have the same vibe that it used to have. You know, maybe during rush hour, there's still, you know, like a heavy volume of traffic, if you will. But like when you go off those time periods of people reporting to work and leaving work, it's kind of like not much is going on. So it's almost become a society that's disconnected. You know, one of the things that I discuss on this channel is bringing back the community. Well, all the community times, they're gone right now. So, you know, what I'm observing as I go around town and just sitting back and observing society, I see a massive, you know, it gets a little overwhelming. For those that are empathic like me, you can't deal with, you know, so many people. But the rush hour is still the rush hour, you know, and the drop-off times and the times when kids get off school, it's packed, you know, and there's a lot of traffic. But any other time besides the matrix time is what we call it, the, you know, report to the building, report to work, shove the kids into the school building. Besides that, there's really not much going on. And, you know, like I'm out here and there's people, but this is like now a time maybe to be social, maybe hanging out with friends. And I do see, you know, some people around, but it's just not the same anymore. You know, people used to get together and it's actually almost like people are afraid of one another. I just recently saw this article how less and less people are celebrating, you know, office parties around the holidays because everyone's afraid of each other. And you might start to see this type of behavior as well. There's a massive shift that's happened. And whether you go to certain places, you might go to your local gym and all of a sudden you don't see the same people maybe that were there pre-2020, and you see different people. And, you know, there are people that are still at it just like maybe you are, but it's a very small amount. But when you go around town, a lot of people seem to be separate. And growing up in Brooklyn, I used to see a lot of people hanging out in the park, hanging out at these places, getting together, groups of kids, teenagers. I would see parents with children all playing together, and we don't see this much anymore. Why don't you comment down below? Are you seeing a massive shift, a desensitized, maybe I made up a new word, but like society is kind of desensitized and people aren't doing the things, and it's almost like going through the motions, you know, going to maybe some of the stores, maybe going to some of the bakeries. It is very different than how it was years ago. And there's a lot of things that are just going through the motions. Yeah, you might even see this with the food. You might go to some of your restaurants, some of the places, and you said, oh, the quality of the food, the quality of this place is just not the same anymore. It's almost like they're just going, hey, just throw it out there. So we are living in a time right now where the things that were great years ago, something happened. And whether it comes to community, whether I'm looking for children having fun outside, teenagers having fun, it's so wild. You know, I grew up in this park. I grew up in this area. And we used to ride bikes and we used to, you know, have fun. And then, like, when I was a school teacher here, I would see all of the students, they would be out riding their bikes. It's almost like a ghost town. You know, so there is a massive shift that has happened. And if you are not alert, okay, you got to be alert, okay? If you're not alert during the time periods where it's matrix and off matrix time, you will see a society that's just going through the motions. They are only serving the system. They're rushing to work. They're rushing their kids to the school and then pick up the kids from school. And then the rest of the day, there's not much going on. You know, so you might see, not that I go out to eat much, but you might go to your local restaurant with a friend, and it doesn't, it's kind of like dead. The vibes are dead. Are you feeling this desensitization of society as well? And it's just totally not the same. Some of the things that are being produced, you know, a lot of, I think, people, you know, things that are being made, food that's being prepared. Everything is just bland. Everything is just going through the motions. Everything is just not the same. If you're realizing this, why don't you comment that down below? Things just aren't the same since 2020. Now, Mr. D's out here surveying the area, and I'm here to teach all of you. You know, when 2020 happened, there was a lot of fear. And it put people, and it kind of changed what was lying within their subconscious mind. And if you didn't know this, 95% of the day, we're running off of subconscious programs. And we're living in a world where people are just rushing. They're just going through the motions. They're not alert. They're not in the conscious mind, because a lot of people got hit with fear. A lot of people got hit with anxiety. What is anxiety? All right, it's fear of the future, fear of the unknown. How many people are listening to this message right now? And over the past few years, you might have had a lot of fear. You had a fear. You were unknown. It was unknown what was going to happen in the future. So when you have these traumas, and many people, we can't blame our brothers and sisters in society. People are afraid of each other. People are afraid of relationships. People are afraid of getting together in gatherings. You know, and a lot of parents might be, you know, sheltering their kids. They're not coming out to the playground. We used to see a lot of people coming out and playing and having a good time. So we're seeing a massive shift, and it's really important for each and every one of us to bring back the community. And, you know, we've kind of seen that on social media. We're seeing it on the computer. You know, Zoom has become a big thing. I run my own Zoom on Patreon if anyone would like to join. But we're not seeing what we used to see. And it's just a massive change of what society and how it used to be. You know, this would be a time period we would all be getting ready to get together with our loved ones, getting together, getting excitement. You might feel this as well. There might not be a great excitement for the holidays, where years ago there used to be you used to get ready, you were a kid, you were a young adult, there was such a great excitement that came through you that, oh wow, what a great season. And more people, and this is the truth, you could comment this down below, more and more people are maybe looking at this season, and they're not looking at it with excitement. They might be looking at it with depression. You know, a lot of people in the world right now, they're alone, and they're looking for people, and they're actually looking for people that resonate with them. A lot of people, they learned a lot of lessons since 2020, and self-respect was one of those lessons. But there is a lot of reflection that goes on over these seasons. But literally everything has changed since 2020. You know, I come to this area, those that watch my world famous YouTube channel, you know this area that I go to. And when I started, this was an area where it's a better hike. And, you know, I do see some people here again. But again, on the weekend, it just would be so many people walking around. That's why I had to go to the other side, because I needed some peace and quiet to film. So, you know, whether you're seeing this with your personal life, whether you're hearing this from other people, whether you're seeing this with even like television shows, even with movies, things are so bland. When I grew up in the 90s, things were so much fun. Wasn't it so much fun if you grew up in the 90s? It's like unbelievable when you look at the shows that they have now, when you look at the movies that they have now. And some things are great, but like a lot of these things are bland. A lot of these things, they have no life. They don't have no energy. There's no energy behind these things. And, you know, especially during this time, as we're getting towards the end of this year, I want you to reflect back, and I want you to think about your life prior to 2020. And I want you to look at your everyday life now and really seriously think about it, and think about if it's the same, is it better, or is it worse? Maybe we'll have a vote on this, okay? So think about your life. Think about pre and post 2020, okay? And how many people think it's better now? How many people think it's the same? And how many people think it's worse now? And that's just the way of the world. It's very different. And a lot of people have to change the way that they live their everyday life, you know, and we have to live in a world where we're not in survival mode. We're in thrival mode. We want to thrive. We want to have the great aspects of life, you know, especially when you might get this message and you say to yourself, you know, it's very rare that I have someone that I really trust. It's very rare that, you know, I have someone that thoroughly resonates with me. And when you actually do have a conversation with someone, it kind of reminds you of that past. It kind of reminds you of that pre-2020. You know, sometimes I have conversations with younger men. If you're getting this message, and let's support our younger men that never even had a chance at life. But I have to tell them, like, you know, years ago, we used to go out to places and you would go on the dance floor and you would meet people and you know, they have there's none of this even exists anymore. There's no fun, there's no partying, there's no getting together. Whether you get together maybe at a place or you know, hosting maybe a party, the world is very separate right now. The world is very bland right now. Something happened from 2020 till now. And a lot of people, this is an energetic time period. It's a biblical time period as well. And some of you might have heard of a term, the Rapture. And I think a lot of people had in their mind, right, that people are going to start like flying up into the sky or something like this. But I want you to very carefully listen to this message right now, okay? And I want you to think about this rationally. Do you see a massive shift? Do you see, are you witnessing a world where half is gone? Half are gone. And it is a shell of the society. There's no energy behind what happens on a daily basis. And you can go, it's amazing. And there could be no one here. There's usually so many people here. They come, they walk. This is a weekend when I'm filming this. Okay, this is not a time where, you know, everyone's in school. This is a time where people are always walking and doing things here. It is literally like half this society, even though, I get it, rush hour, listen to the message carefully. Rush hour, it seems so packed, right? Pick the kids up from school, seems so packed. But if it's any other time, there's nothing else. So what we see right now are a bunch of worker bees that are serving the matrix. And that's about it. Where's the rest of life? Where's your everyday life? What's going on, people? Okay, so a lot of people are witnessing this right now. And you might walk the earth and you might feel like last man standing. It's literally like last man standing. Here we are. And it is what it is at this time. But a lot of people, you know, like, and I even know, you know, people that are more accustomed. We went through a harsh time period, and we went through a time period of revelation. So, and I do get it. You might be getting this message. You might have a little trauma, and you're afraid to connect with people because of you started to see clearly of who people are. Maybe you lost trust in people, and you know, we saw ups and downs and things that we thought we would never see before, and it was so strange to us. And here we are. Everything changed post 2020. The energy shifted. But every once in a while, and I noticed this, okay? You know, there was times where you could be in a place, and a lot of the times it does seem very empty, but then all of a sudden it's lively again. This is a time period where you're going to have to get accustomed to the energies. You're going to have to go within. You got to trust your body. You got to trust your feelings. Your body is the tuning fork to telling you the truth. So you have to get this message. You might not see it on mainstream TV. They're not going to have it on your nightly news, but you're going to have to trust your intuition, and you could start to say, you know what, there's something wrong with this reality right now. Something's off with it. And a lot of people are witnessing it. A lot of people are experiencing it, but aspects that are bland, aspects that are a shell of the society that it used to be. Any of these terms that I'm saying, just leave a comment down below. Is it bland? Is it a shell of the society? Or is it going through the motions? Okay, what I set forth, I'm here to inspire people to take back control of their everyday life. You know, and all the things that, you know, meant so much to me, especially growing up, you know, coming to the park, coming out in nature, and, you know, actually being in the city and growing up with so many different types of people from all different backgrounds, and everyone had their thing, and everyone, like, you know, got along. And I see a lot of separation, you know, in the world right now. We see a lot of people separating according to the label. Who's this? What's that? What do they believe? What do they not believe? Let's get back into balance. Let's get back into alignment, people. Let's become the greatest version of ourselves. So if you want all that and you want to take back control of your everyday life, why don't you click the like button if today's message resonated with you? Please comment down below. Has everything changed since 2020? Does this society seem bland? Does it seem like it's a shell of itself? Does it seem like they're just going through, like things are just going through the motion? Like, this is how society goes, and I'm just going to play pretend, right? You have play pretend stuff instead of having real stuff. These are our everyday lives. So why don't you take the journey with us? Please hit the subscribe button. I'm so grateful for that. Every time you guys hit the subscribe button, it's like a vote for Mayor Mike, and it allows me to do what I love to do best, and that's called teach millions of people on YouTube. So there's a whole world out there. Why don't you get out? Why don't you start walking your neighborhoods? Why don't you start greeting the people? Why don't you start getting back together with the communities? Let's stop being afraid of each other, right? Even if I have to be the one to take the first step forward, I'll be the one to take the first step forward. And then one person after another person. I know that the past few years have been really harsh, okay? But there's a whole world waiting for you. Are you ready? Are you ready to start living again? The rapture. Are you starting to see it, light warriors? It's my honor to show up every day, 9 a.m. Eastern if you're new to the channel. It's my honor to lead the charge. It's my honor to restore everyday life. I love each and every one of you. We have Facebook, TikTok, Patreon. The links are in the description. Please share this video everywhere and start asking the question, has everything changed since 2020? because it seems like it has. I love each and every one of you. And remember, I am the defender of our everyday lives. No matter what comes your way, light warriors, just keep going. That's all you got to do. Keep going. This is our journey. You got to get back to your roots. You got to remember. That's what this time period is about. You're remembering who you are. I'm remembering who I am. You're all remembering who you are. The power has lied inside of you all along. Get a little flavor. Get a little flavor back in life. It doesn't need to be bland anymore. Let's get some flavor. Let's get the band back together. Let's start living our everyday lives.